Hey there, welcome back for another random video, this time featuring FANCON. Now one of my interests is anime. In the past I've gone to FanimeCon, but this year I stumbled across a new mini-con called FANCON. This one is also in San Jose, but it's just one day in the East Ridge Mall. This little mini-con is put on by MAGFest. And this is apparently the second year this is happening. I just discovered it by pure accident when I went to East Ridge to watch a movie and I saw their banner and decided to check it out. And even though it's a much smaller event than FanimeCon, this was still a lot of fun. It has a lot of the same elements as FanimeCon, just in a little bit more compact presentation. So in this video, I figured we would just walk the floor and check out the vendors, and I'll try to promote as many vendors as I can. And in upcoming videos, I'll cover some of the other elements that they had. They had some performances, I'll touch upon a panel they had, and the cosplay contest they had going on. This little mini-con even had their own version of a gaming lounge, which is pretty cool. But let's start with the vendors and the upper market. Now the vendors here, I would say, is very similar to FanimeCon's Artist Alley. And let me just say up front that all the vendors had a fantastic booths. Everyone did an excellent job. There might be some that are a little bit more elevated or elite, but everyone did a great job. The first vendor we're going to look at is Ronin Decals. The main way to find them is on their website and Instagram. And if I find any other ways to find them online, I'll put them in the description area. And that'll be true for all the other vendors. And this is the first vendor where I couldn't find any online presence. From the banner they have, looks like they go by C.AR135 or 13S. Not sure. If you know who this vendor is, let me know in the comments. Next up, we have Peachirou, I think it's how you pronounce it. And then next to Peachirou, we're going to have what I would say is YGKist or Young Gun Kim. And here you'll start to notice the two most prominent websites that the vendor's on, Etsy and Instagram. Just about every vendor has at least those two. This next vendor had an excellent booth. They are called Designs by Scandier, I think it's how I'm going to pronounce it. A really good presentation, a lot of cool stuff, a really good online presence, and just a very talented artist. Next up, we have GummiGom Mart. You can actually pause the video here and use their QR code to go to their socials. Next to GummiGom, we have Kwnce, is I think how we're going to pronounce it. They also go online as K. And then next to Kwnce, we have Burnt Green Tea with their pinups. And something that I'll point out here is that while there is some risque items for sale, not as much as a FanimeCon, so it's a little bit more family and kid friendly. Next up, we have Kelsiekishidraws. I'm sure I'm nailing that just perfect. These next two vendors are interesting because they're sharing a booth. So first we have Kloud Kyu. And then they're partnering up with Fluffy Naps. And with their anime and manga talents combined, they are Float to Dream. And this next vendor is kind of interesting. They're Hikapoi, and they're mainly on the Ko-fi website. And if you notice on the banner, it has them listed as Hikapoi, but their username on the Ko-fi site is Hikari, so that's not a typo. This is another vendor where I didn't know the artist or the brand name, but they have a lot of really cool stuff, so if you know who they are, shout them out in the comment section. This next vendor wasn't quite set up when I first came through, but trust me, they have really cool stuff, so make sure to check out the lollipop on their socials. Next up, we have Mielstrom. It was a little bit difficult to find them online, so if you're interested in finding out more about them, make sure to use the links in the description below. Next, we have one of two vendors where I didn't know the name of the artist or the brand. So again, if you know who they are, shout them out in the comment section. And here's the other vendor. Really good stuff. Again, I wish I knew who they were. And here's an example of where I knew the artist's name, but I couldn't find anything online about them. Part of the issue is they go by magpie, which is a fairly common term. Obviously, it's the name of a bird. And judging from their booth, they seem to be a queer-friendly artist, which is pretty cool. So if you know how to find them online, please share in the comments. And really excellent booth, but one tip, you gotta iron your cloth backgrounds. And this is another artist that I believe is queer friendly, judging from the flags over their booth. They have a very extensive online presence. Looks like they can be found as Isabel Ruiz or as Isalinguica. I'm totally nailing all these names, I'm sure of it. In any case, she seems like a really talented illustrator and artist, so make sure to check her out online. This is another excellent booth. The Loafly Catfe kind of just speaks for itself. This is another booth where I didn't know the name of the artist or the brand, but they have really cool pinups. If you know who they are, let me know. And again, here we have a couple of other booths where I didn't know the name of the artist. So if anybody can ID them, just put them in the comments for me. And at this booth, it's very obvious who we have. It's Fix-It Soba. Fix-It Soba has a lot of online presence, really easy to find. The next booth we have doggydoodooles. They had a lot of really cute stuff and a really good presentation at their booth. This is another example where I couldn't find the artist or the brand name, but it was a very popular booth. Probably because he had his own little speaker system with the colorful lights, so it probably attracted a lot of attention. And of course he's got some really cool stuff to sell. Our next booth is DKDK Shop, another excellent booth. Next up is Purinspace. I couldn't get a clear shot of what they have for sale, so make sure to check them up online and see what they offer. Next we have MistiousStar. As you can see, they have a strong online presence and a lot of really great stuff. And I'm sure I'm nailing that name just perfectly. Next we have Rolilomi, otherwise known as Amanda. And it looks like Rolilomi teamed up with Milk Tea Mochi at this booth. Another unnamed vendor, so if you know who they are, make sure to shout them out in the comments. This is another case where I couldn't get a really clear shot at the vendor's products, but there's Neko-oi. This vendor is Skypiea Studio. Their products were a little bit different compared to the other vendors. A lot of vendors had enamel pins and prints and posters. They had these acrylic signs from popular brands and animes and some coasters. A little bit different and very unique. Next we have elizyarts, also known online as Elizabeth Young or just Eliz or LZ. You can use this QR codes to find all our socials. A very good idea. Oh, and here's another easy to say name. I think it's DaesignStudio. Almost seems like design, but I guess it's Daesignstudio. And here we have another very talented artist. I just wish I knew their name so I could properly shout them out. So if you know who they are, let us know in the comments. And right next to that artist is Candy Paint Cafe, and everyone should learn from them. Big sign, clear visuals of your name, just iron your backdrop. Like Gamers Heaven, they're nailing it. Big clear name, iron backdrop. Same thing with Petty Party. Big name, clear and easy, everything's ironed. And see here, another cool vendor. Have no idea what they call themselves. No big name or backdrop. And their next door is Rosie and Mochi. They are got a clear name. Unfortunately though, I just couldn't find anything online about them. In the next video, I'll talk about the vendors in the lower market, as well as explore some of the other offerings that was on the lower level. And that includes explaining who these guys are. So I hope you'll come back as we continue to explore FANCON, and until the next video, take care.